What's going on, y'all? Dame Calls Game for another installment of our show. Tonight is Sunday. We're going on live on Sunday because of the fact that I am doing some personal things tomorrow and cannot be live. Today we are joined here by our very own Robbie Phillips, ahead of the curve, and David Santucci. Um, Today is going to be some fun talks about what was going on at the end of the bubble. We've already recalled a whole bunch of the games that have been going on, but there's some interesting stuff ahead of the playoffs. Um, so just get it going. Spurs, they lose their playoff streak of 22 years now.
All good. Come to an end.
Yeah, that sad legacy is now over. Greg Popovich, however, is still the coach of San Antonio Spurs, so I don't necessarily know how long that will last. They do have some really young talent. They just need a few more pieces to go along with it, and I personally think that it could go better. So what do you guys think?
Their
I'll let
front
Robbie
court.
go first. Go ahead, Robbie.
Thank you. Their front court needs work. They are very guard heavy in their construction. Jakob Poeltl is basically the only one that they've got who's a long-term front court piece who can bring anything to the table, of note on one or the other side of the ball. The only other notable forward they have is Rudy Gay, and he's old. He's in his 30s. He's done after the next couple of seasons. He's not a long-term building piece. They need somebody who can complement that slashing front court with DeJounte Murray, with Derek White, and with Lonnie Walker, who might be a superstar in the making.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, they're just young. Popovich isn't going anywhere. He is the GOAT in the NBA right now from a coaching standpoint. He just doesn't have the talent with those young kids who are going to be talented. When you stop and think about the 22-year span that they had Duncan, you had Ginobili who came in as a piece, you had Parker who came in as a piece. He was able to add pieces with that young talent, and you stop and think about when Kawhi got there, and he got his nickname, the Silent Assassin, that year he won the MVP, but he had all of that experienced talent around him. Right now, San Antonio just doesn't have that experience around it, and I think until they figure out how to add to what they have, those young kids, that young nucleus, I think they're going to struggle.
Agreed. Moving on to the next young team, might need some more pieces. Could also use some healthy players to involve. The Phoenix Suns, they went 8-0 in this bubble restart, but they are still missing the playoffs due to them being so far behind at the beginning of it. They had their chance to make it back into the 8th seed, but Portland decided to rain on their parade, led by Damian Lillard. And Devin Booker, however, had the hell of a 8-game spread. He just didn't have any help. So, Robbie, is there anything that's really missing from Phoenix?
Phoenix needs some more depth and some more scoring around Booker. He's really the only one who can create his own look right now at a high level. I mean, they've got a couple of really great complementary pieces around him in Ayton and Bridges. Ayton might be the next great front court. He might be the next great center in the NBA if he can just keep making strides on the defensive end. He looked really good defensively in the bubble. He looked like he didn't look like a deer in the headlights at the rim like he has for much of his first couple of seasons in the league. And he's already a double-double machine. He's going to be 20 and 10 every night for the next 15 years as long as he can stay on the court, remain a factor defensively, and keep using his prodigious athleticism to get out to the perimeter when he needs to. And somebody they don't talk about enough is Michael Bridges. He's already a 3-and-D piece. He's already a perfect spot-up shooter to play off of a guy like Booker, and he's 2-3 years away from being the next elite 3-and-D player in the NBA.
Pop.
Well, I agree with both of those statements. The one thing I will say is Ayton needs to actually – it could be a double-double machine all day long, but at some point you need to step up your game and become a superstar. I think that's the piece that's missing from Booker, is that you need that second superstar. Ayton looks like he could get there. I just don't know if he can get there, right? So for Phoenix, how do you add a veteran piece, or I hate to use the term veteran because everybody assumes it's old guy, but how do you add that piece that's played in the game that can be that superstar or that secondary superstar and allow Booker to be Booker, right? With Ayton doing the double-double machine that he's done.
Right. Even if it's not a veteran, there's one more player that we had all forgotten about in Kelly Oubre Jr. He's made some strides. He has made some strides after being traded to the Suns from Washington. As a player himself, he has become a much better player. And Ricky Rubio also has on the Spurs, the Suns, not the Spurs. But he's not the point guard that I think could be a dual threat with Devin Booker being a shooting guard. I think that it would need somebody that's more of a scoring threat and not like a pass and assist type of guy.
I think Ricky Rubio was overhyped when he came out of the Spanish league and the European league. Yeah, can he dish the ball? Does he look good dribbling and passing? Yeah, he does. But I don't think he ended up being what everybody in the NBA thought he could be or should be. So he's just a nice piece, and I don't think he's that guy either. I agree with you, Damien.
Right, and there's another player now that we mentioned overhyped and not that guy. DeAndre Ayton's backup is Frank Kaminsky. I don't know if you guys remember him coming out of college. He was that one center who could shoot from literally anywhere on the field. Court, not field. But he came out of college and everybody thought he was going to be the next Dirk Nowitzki, and he's just not.
Well, really, when you look at who was successful for the Suns this year playing in that front court, it really wasn't Kaminsky. I mean, Kaminsky looks like Myers Leonard minus defense, which is really just a really painful comparison to make. But once they moved Dario Saric up to the 5 and just bumped him up a position, he looked a lot more productive. He's never going to hold up defensively, which is why Aaron Baines was there. But Aaron Baines is 33 years old, and he's best served in limited minutes moving forward. So I think you're right. They need somebody who can soak up those minutes behind Ayton, somebody who can maybe play the 4 and the 5 with him. Saric ideally would be able to do that, but he's just so out of place offensively at the 4 and so out of place defensively at the 5 that I don't think he's ever going to be able to be a big minutes contributor in the front court. He looked good in limited action, limited stretches. He played well in 24.7 minutes per game this year. He's really never going to be a needle mover though. He's best served coming off the bench, but that's going to be something serious if he can really grow up.
But that's a ton of minutes, 24 minutes a game. He's eating up a ton of minutes.
Right. They need somebody better than him to take those minutes and drop him back down into a rotational role. Because when he was in a rotational role, playing, soaking up a little at the 5 and a little at the 4 and, just doing his thing as the idea of a stretchy white big man, basically doing what Kaminsky was supposed to do, he did fine. He shot a reasonably good percentage from 3. He shot a reasonably good percentage from inside the arc. He's never going to be an impact defender. He wouldn't be able to stop any of the 3 of us from scoring in the paint on him. But if they can just get somebody a little bit more hard, like a younger Aaron Baines, if they could get somebody who can, take charges and grab rebounds and shoot threes in 20-ish minutes per game, then I think that'll be all they need. Because right now they're stocked on the wings right now. They're looking really good. If Oubre can come back healthy, he might be that second/third scorer that they need around Booker. Between him, Booker, and Ayton, that might be all the firepower they need if they all continue to keep trending up like that.
Yeah, I just think they need a stronger second scorer for Booker. I mean, the young kids are great, but I think right now they need that dynamic, and I don't know where you find that guy.
Yeah, an established player.
Yeah.
Ayton struggles with contact right now. He's big and he's nimble and he's athletic and he's freaky, but he just has such a hard time using his tools to get to the line. He shoots a good percentage from the line, but he only took 2.3 attempts per game this year at the free throw line. And I think once he can build a little bit more of an array down in the low post of moves that'll get him some cheap hacks and calls, he could be that second guy. He scored 18 points per game this year, even only taking 2 free throws a game. He's hitting 55% of his shots on the floor. He could really be that guy. And if he keeps continuing or develops as a defender, then he really might end up being that second piece that they need, that big boy that they need to help Booker out.
Yeah,
he needs to go back a little old school and go back to the 80s where they used to beat the crap out of people. He needs to be willing to take that body, and he's just not. I don't think because of his athleticism, I don't think he's ever really thought about he needed that because I'm just so athletic and dominant, right? But he's built for it.
He's built for it. He doesn't have the skill set for it yet. He hasn't developed those tools.
If he could work out with like a Dwight Howard style in the post, like Orlando Magic Dwight Howard post, he could definitely put his size to use because he's 6'11" and he's not scrawny.
But if he could, 250.
if he could put up like Dwight Howard size and use the strength that he could establish with that, I think he could become very dangerous.
He just needs
how
to
to use his
work with
body.
somebody to help him learn how to get those calls. He needs
Exactly.
an offseason working with Joel Embiid is who he needs. He needs an offseason working with that dude on how to get to the line.
I'd actually go old school. I'd go back and Akeem the Dream and learn. Go to his camp. Go work with him for a summer. Go work with Duncan. Go work with the Dream Shake.
That's where Embiid got his hacks from.
Moving
He
up
went and
the
learned from
list
Akeem.
to the team who just so slightly missed the playoffs in the West. The Memphis Grizzlies had their play-in, and lo and behold, Memphis had let down Ja Morant. He attempted to put them on his shoulders and carry them to the victory. I believe he put up 31 points and 8 assists in that play-in game. I could be a point or two off for the
No,
total.
you're right. 31 and 8, but he did have 8 turnovers, so he threw it away as much as he.
But Memphis, they do have Ja Morant, Rookie of the Year, and I believe on their roster with him is Jaren Jackson Jr. But I also think that I don't believe he played in that play-in game. Was he injured?
He's been injured. Yeah, they lost him right at the beginning of the bubble.
They also have Grayson Allen, Justice Winslow, Tyus Jones. So again, they're another ridiculously young team. Their oldest player is 35, and that is Anthony Tolliver. And then they have Georgie Dang at 30. Everyone else is 26 or younger, except for Jonas Valanciunas at 28, but he doesn't play like a 28-year-old.
Let's be honest. Morant has no help. Grayson Allen is.
No, I'm not saying Grayson Allen is help.
I think you mentioned Grayson Allen just a little too quickly there, Big Chief. His jump shot is ready, but the rest of his game is
awful.
No,
it's average.
In no shape was I saying he's help. I was just reading down the roster.
Well, you need to skip A and go right to C. Brandon Clark. That man is help. Brandon Clark is help. Dylan Brooks. I can't believe you skipped Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is help. These are guys that are pieces for this team moving forward. The two of them, Jaren Jackson and Ja Morant, is a beautiful core to work with. DeAnthony Melton is a serious piece if he can ever learn how to shoot. And even if he doesn't, he's a rangy two who can defend just about anybody. And less than 20 minutes a game, he was 1.3 steals per game. He's a solid baller. They've got guys who can put the ball in the hoop. They don't need him to do it. They could just say, go out there and make somebody's life hell.
Right.
So
they also have 2 years.
So the last argument we just made for the last team is it's no different for the Suns than it is for the Grizzlies. Okay, you have a superstar right now in Morant, right?
Yeah.
You have that guy. The piece that I think that they traded away, and this is Iguodala's fault. I think if they would have kept Iguodala and added somebody else to help Morant, Iguodala was the guy, the tenured guy, the experienced guy that could have helped them grow. Now they just need to go and find that piece, right? And then go find the secondary star to help Morant, because Morant is going to be he's lights out by far, hands it away, MVP or Rookie of the Year, and he's going to be an MVP.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy, and I pray on everyone that he stays healthy, as well as other young stars. But even Jaren Jackson Jr.'s backup, the youngest player on their roster, and Jonte Murray, I believe it is. I don't want to say it wrong because I don't want to be that.
We lost the man who's hosting the show.
Hello?
There he goes. Yeah, you got locked up there for a second.
Jonte Porter. Sorry, not Murray. Even he could be, if he stays healthy, he could be a very solid piece for that.
You never bet on anyone from that family to stay healthy. Not Jonte and not Michael Jr., but the two of them, Michael Jr. I'd really love to talk about Michael Jr. later, but
we can say
a whole different topic.
Yeah, he deserves a show to himself at this point.
Yeah.
Moving up the list, we could start with the Western Conference playoffs, since we are in the Western Conference. The 8th seed, Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard. He was recently named the bubble MVP, so obviously that says something about that 8th seed.
Well deserved.
Yeah, very well deserved. After Paul George and Patrick Beverley and Skip Bayless came out with their egregious remarks about Damian Lillard, he decided to say, hey, pals, don't sleep on me. He dropped 61, 51, 42, and 35 and 10 last night in the
Imagine how
playoff
good of an
game,
analyst Skip Bayless would be if he ever did any research or talked to anybody or was right about
or
anything ever.
didn't make wild takes.
Yeah. If he
Um,
wasn't such a shock jock, he might actually do a good job.
Damian
Well, I
Lillard.
think to your point, Robbie, you're right. He's a shock jock. He just throws out
Yeah.
these crazy things
That's it.
just to get social media stirred up. So go ahead, Damien. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. He's obviously not lacking any help on that roster. I don't think they performed to the seeding that they should have. I think they should have been much higher than the 8th seed, but they did it to themselves. CJ McCollum, he played lights out in the playoff game and a few games before, and he's playing with a deviated nerve in his spine or something. The announcer said he was playing with a broken back, but I don't necessarily know how true that is. They've also got Yusuf Nurkic, Gary Trent Jr., and other pieces such as that. So they also have Carmelo Anthony, who was once blackballed by the league and now has had his comeback. And I think he's very much so proved that he deserved the spot in the league last year, and he deserves his spot this year with this 8th seed. They do play the Lakers, and I don't think that'll be I don't think it'll be a quick and easy series, I should say. So I'll let you guys talk. Robbie, you can go.
Lillard's not going to let the Blazers go down without a fight. He's the rare player that can will his team to wins. He's got all the talent to do it. He's the kind of guy who can put his team on his back and just carry them to dubs. I don't think he can carry them to a series win, but I do think he's not letting them go out. He's not letting them get swept. There's no brooms coming in this series. As far as help goes, Nurkic is a really good defender, and he's going to make Anthony Davis's life difficult. He's not going to shut him down. No, there's not many players in the NBA that can, but he's going to make Anthony Davis earn every bucket, which is tough for Anthony Davis because he hates playing center. And if Nurkic is going to be the one guarding him, Davis is going to have a rough time. But the Blazers fundamentally lack one piece that you have to have if you're going to play in LeBron's conference, and that's somebody who can check LeBron. The Blazers have not a single body on their roster even remotely well enough equipped to handle LeBron James. Carmelo Anthony is the best equipped player to guard LeBron James. And when Carmelo Anthony is your best chance at defending LeBron James, you have problems.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with 100% of what Robbie said. I'm not going to disagree with you 100%, Robbie. What I will say is that Nurkic is not going to give AD any problems. The Portland Trail Blazers' problem is that they don't have trouble scoring, and that's why they can stay in games. And I agree with you that Dame can put a team on his back and carry them. The series is not going to be a sweep. It's probably going to go 6. But Portland does not, as a team, play defense at all. They just don't. If you look at they just do not play defense. And so, to your point, okay, Nurkic may give AD some trouble, but who the hell else are they guarding? On the flip side of that, why it's going to go 6 games is because LA is not going to be able to guard Portland and their jump shooting.
Right.
Their outside shot, they're not going to be able to guard it.
LA not having Avery Bradley, and I can't believe I've never thought I would say these words in my life, but not having Avery Bradley is a big deal.
It is a big deal. Everybody said that when he decided not to play. It's a fact because he's a defender.
That's his entire game is being able to defend the other team's point guard so that LeBron doesn't have to.
And Courtney mentioned for defensive positioning for the Portland Trail Blazers that they're missing Trevor Ariza, which, I mean, Trevor Ariza is no slouch on defense, but
you're missing Mo Harkless. If you're missing Mo Harkless as a defender, or if you're missing Mo Harkless as an anything, you are struggling.
Yes. Facts.
I don't miss Mo Harkless. Most people don't miss Mo Harkless. The Blazers miss Mo Harkless.
Most people don't even know who Mo Harkless is. Right?
Most people don't know who Mo Harkless is.
Oh, he had to jump in because now.
He's about to say they're going to get swept.
Hold on.
Let's hear it.
First of all, y'all, again, the bruise is coming out. Listen, hold on. Rob, you hit it right on the nail. They have nobody even remotely close to being able to guard LeBron James. And I put in the comments, what you didn't read, they need a better wing defender. They're missing Trevor Ariza.
I just said that.
Their team who is not there. And then you said, Big Huge, you said nobody can guard the Blazers. LeBron James will cover Damian Lillard.
LeBron doesn't want to guard Damian Lillard.
Yes, he does.
LeBron won't.
Listen.
LeBron won't really put his time into Damian.
That's
It's not that
No,
LeBron. It's not.
You
I
guys
didn't
have-
say LeBron can't. I
If you
didn't
guys
say
have
he can't.
Watch playoff LeBron in years past. He has always guarded when it really mattered. He guards. He's either guarding the point or the smaller 1-2 man, and then have everybody else pick everything up. And if you see this year, he's giving AD will be the focal point of the defense. I mean, of the offense. So LeBron's going to with Damian Lillard. Everybody knows Dame is that team, as we said. LeBron James is going to take him in the fourth, in the third. If he starts to get hot, LeBron's not going to let it get to that point of just nobody can stop him. Nobody's going to double him. LeBron will.
If Dame gets hot, it doesn't matter who's in front of him.
Yes, it does.
No.
Yes, it does.
No.
Dame
it
can
doesn't.
shoot over Jesus.
Because
No, it doesn't.
what we said, Court, what we were arguing, Court, is not individual players playing defense. The Lakers as a team are not going to be able to defend the shooting capability of the entire Portland Trailblazers team.
Yes,
Just
they
like
are.
the Trailblazers aren't going to be able to defend
Are y'all?
LeBron
Are
or
y'all
AD.
going based off of the bubble? Because if you think
I mean, that's what you have to go off of.
about anything about the bubble, you're high. I think you're
You
smoking.
mean the most recent in-game data we have?
you have to win one game to clinch your number one seed, and it doesn't matter. I wouldn't play. Yeah, I'll be out there playing for freaking assist. Oh, pass it.
Portland doesn't play any defense at all. Portland
Look at
doesn't play any
LeBron
defense at
early
all.
The Lakers are
Portland
like
is
number
not a
three.
defensive team. Portland's
The
given up 130 points a game, period, no matter what. Every game, they've demonstrated that. They just try to outscore you. The Lakers can't defend on the perimeter.
Yes, they can.
LeBron may be able to, but they can't defend on the perimeter. Their
Oh,
best
my
defender isn't
goodness.
even there.
Oh my goodness. So
As a team, they struggle on the perimeter.
So how
They
did
do. As a team, they
On
struggle
both
on the
ends.
perimeter. Their best perimeter defender is not even in the bubble. Beverly is their best perimeter defender. They went out to the
wrong LA
garbage
team.
pile and brought out J.R. Smith because he can play defense supposedly.
Wrong LA team.
Bro, J.R.
That's
Smith,
Beverly.
J.R. Smith is a turnstile.
First of all,
What?
listen.
Their next best defender, wing defender after LeBron James is their center.
Kyle
And-
Kuzma. That's Kyle Kuzma can guard the wing. Listen, how much money? How much we put?
Kyle
on
Kuzma's a
the-
turnstile.
How much? Y'all said
Courtney.
maybe 6 big toots. You're crazy.
You could take
I'm with Robie on this one. Kyle Kuzma's a turnstile. He's
Courtney,
like James
you could
Harden.
take Kyle Kuzma to the hoop.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You guys are ridiculous. The Lakers.
Kyle Kuzma is a career negative on defense. This is stats. This is not me saying it. This is stats.
I can't hear you guys. Are you guys breaking up or?
No, it's
It
you.
must be you, Dad. Your voice is really fuzzy though.
Well, we're
Because
killing
he's
it.
got the AirPods in. He needs Bengals,
No,
Dame.
but I personally, I would say that their wing defender rating goes as their lineup in the bubble. It goes LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and then KCP, and that's saying
Was
something.
Danny Green not in the bubble?
I mean, yeah, Danny Green, but I haven't really been seeing
Also,
him. What the heck?
not for nothing, but Alex Caruso's a legit defender.
I haven't really paid attention all that much to Alex Caruso's.
You are the only one on the planet. Alex Caruso is our greatest hope.
But hold on. I wasn't gonna let that slide. I tuned out. But listen, you're crazy if you think Kyle Kuzma's a turnstile. Like you're crazy.
Stats.
They don't just become the number 3 best defense in the NBA all year long.
They do when you got a Defensive Player of the Year candidate at power forward.
No, but you got the Lakers gave up 104 points a game. If you think how much do you? I guarantee you the Blazers don't go over 115 in any game.
Now
We
you're
got-
tripping.
Now you're smoking something.
Here's what the layout is here in terms of offensive and defensive rating. We've got the number 3 offensive rating team in the NBA in the Blazers, and we've got the number 3 defensive rating team in the NBA in the Lakers. Now, what the Lakers are missing is one of the big reasons why they had that defensive rating in Avery Bradley. He's not their whole defense, but that was 24 minutes a game of him stifling the shit out of opposing ball handlers So the dudes like LeBron and, for Christ's sake, Kuzma didn't have to touch him with a 10-foot pole. LeBron could go out there, do his best defense play the best defense he's played in years, and then focuses all of his energy on the offensive end like he's been doing for the last 10 or 15 years. Get them 10 assists a night and call it a day. That team is built to play both sides of the ball for sure. But if you're missing Avery Bradley and replacing him with Rajon Rondo trying to defend other teams' best guard, that's a struggle.
So you don't think LeBron James can shut down Damian Lillard?
I think LeBron James
down now.
But I don't think he's going to shut him down.
You guys, how do I have you guys talking?
He didn't. Okay, he didn't shut down Steph Curry when he was guarding Steph Curry. He never shut down Klay Thompson when he was guarding Klay Thompson in those final series. He didn't shut down KD whenever he was guarding KD in any of the playoff series.
Courtney, one thing you got to see.
Even Paul George put up his numbers on LeBron whenever they played each other in the playoffs.
One thing you got to see when it comes to shutting people down is that's 40 minutes of effort. That's 40 minutes of you being up in somebody's business, literally inside of their jersey, and trying to keep them from doing their thing. That is exhausting and that is taxing. The reason why Iguodala was a shutdown defender for the Warriors is because his entire offensive responsibility was sometimes bring it up the floor and sometimes go stand in the corner. LeBron's
who did he shut down?
Iguodala?
Yeah. Because if you say LeBron James, I might slap the shit out of you. Respectfully.
I deserve a slap to the face for a lot of reasons, but this ain't one of them. He was one of the reasons they kept LeBron from taking over that series.
You mean the fact that LeBron averaged the triple-double with 35 in each series against them?
And I think he would have done more had it not been Iguodala on him.
But you're saying
if they put Klay Thompson on him, LeBron goes for 40 and 15 and 15. LeBron was on another level in that series, and the Warriors still won.
But again, and here's my thing. All I'm talking about is this isn't Kyrie Irving. This isn't like the Lakers have, in my opinion, like think about this, right? Like Damian Lillard is the focus point of the Blazers.
Yes.
Like, will LeBron James?
And when you send two at him, that leaves somebody in the corner.
Well, hold on. You don't need to throw. If you have LeBron James on Damian Lillard, you do not need to throw two people.
LeBron's not going to guard Damian Lillard for 40 minutes a game. Mm-mm. LeBron does too. LeBron's the entire Lakers offense. So here's what's going to have to happen: is LeBron is going to have to be the entire Lakers offense.
No,
Anthony Davis cannot carry an offense. That's why he's in Los Angeles in the first place.
Very true. And
if Anthony Davis could carry an offense, he wouldn't have to go join somebody who can carry an offense. LeBron James takes offenses, puts them in a bag, puts the bag on his back, and then runs laps with it. So he doesn't do that on defense because nobody's got to do that on defense. Nobody can do that on both ends of the floor for 40 minutes for 7 games or for 4 games for that
matter. Why do you think Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen? Michael was the scorer, Scottie was the defender.
Michael Jordan could shut down anybody he wanted for a possession, for a game. But if Michael Jordan was shutting somebody down for a game, was he still scoring 50 that night?
Nope.
No.
30.
But if Scottie Pippen was checking the other team's best wing, Michael Jordan could go do whatever the fuck he wanted for 40 minutes. He could go teabag big dudes and dribble around little dudes and shoot over big dudes and teabag everybody in between.
Exactly.
I know I said teabag twice because that's how I think Jordan liked to play. I think Jordan liked to put his nuts on people's head. But that's a whole nother conversation. We can probably talk about that on Tuesday if we want.
No, but bottom line is that LA can't guard the perimeter as well as a lot of teams. And Portland does not play any defense. I think it goes 6 games. I think LA comes out of the 6 games as the winner.
It's going to be a shootout.
For predictions, I can agree with you. I could see it going 6 games. I could also see it ending in 5. It just depends on who gets the first step early. Robbie, I don't know if you see it any different. I obviously know you don't believe it's going 4, but I don't know if you're going 7.
I just don't see it going 4. I'm hesitant. I'm kind of a pessimist and a realist, even though I'm a Damian Lillard fan.
100%.
5 games seems realistic. I won't be surprised if it goes 6. I'll be a little surprised if it goes 7. But 5. If I had to put money on anything, if I had to put my last, $6.42 on it, I'm putting it on 5 games.
Right. Across the town, I guess. It's not across the river or anything. To the next LA team.
You mean across the building?
Right. That Clippers building isn't built yet for them. And they also are in Orlando. The Clippers have Dallas and Luka Doncic for their playoff series. Obviously, the Clippers' entire roster is not all together still to this day. I don't know if Montrezl Harrell has returned to the team. I also do not know if Lou Williams is done with his suspension yet. But Kawhi Leonard and Paul George come up against the dangerous European duo of Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic.
Harrell is expected to be eligible for Game 1.
He is. Okay.
Yeah.
Beneficial for the Clippers. Very. The Clippers are a dangerous team. Everybody knows that. From top to bottom, they are a very arguable best team in the West. Obviously, you can't discount them because of it. 1 to like 12, I don't know if they have a full 15 on their roster. They are very filled out at position-wise. Dallas, I don't know their 100% best production, but I do know that Luka Doncic is one hell of a young player.
The Mavericks put up the highest team offensive rating in NBA history this season.
Okay, so then there we go. Obviously, you can't sleep on the Dallas Mavericks.
But they were 18th in defensive rating. So
they make me feel like crap because Luka's younger than me and you, Robbie. Obviously, at this point, everybody's younger than you, Dad.
See, why you gotta go there, bro? I'm just gonna throw out this hot take right now. I like Dallas in 5.
Ooh.
Wow, that is scorching. Dallas in 5, huh?
I do. You know why I like Dallas in 5? Let's take a look at how Kawhi's performed in the bubble. He's not played well. He doesn't look like his explosive self during the regular season before we turned it off. They look like they're struggling. Yes, their bench is weaker because Lou Williams and they're missing some pieces.
Williams is back. Beverly and Hammond are questionable.
Kawhi is not Kawhi right now, and I just think there's a problem. And I could see Dallas winning in 5. That's just my call.
I mean, yeah, I could 100% see that situation playing out like that. Personally, I think it'll go all 7 for this series. Like I said, Clippers are arguably best team in the West, but the West is not weak. We had a 4-team possibility for the 8th seed, and then a play-in game to make the playoffs. And Dallas is sitting at number 7, playing the number 2 Clippers. They went 44-28 in comparison to 49-23 that the Clippers did.
I want to make one quick point about Kawhi in the bubble.
Go for it.
So he played 6 out of 8 games. He scored 29 points per game with 5 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, shooting 48% from the floor, 49% from 3, and 87% from the line.
Okay, so he's sneakily playing the same.
But look, guess what? He made it look easy, right? But stop and think about what he did with Toronto and what did he do? He just doesn't look like the same player. Yeah, you can score 29. I get it, and you can have those stats. But is he carrying that team on his back legitimately? I don't know if I don't think he legitimately is.
He carried them through the bubble.
I don't know if he's the piece like he was for Toronto, right? I don't see him being that piece right now because maybe the Clippers are missing other pieces, but I just don't see it.
He carried them through the bubble with those numbers, and they performed. Obviously, they didn't sweep the bubble like the Suns did, but no one did. They had their warts. Every team that wasn't the Suns had their warts in the bubble. But once Kawhi's got bodies back next to him, I mean, his supporting cast in Toronto was sneaky good. His supporting cast in Los Angeles is not sneaky; they are good.
Right.
They're gonna have Harrell definitely for game 2, maybe for game 1. They might not have Shamet, they might not have Beverly, but they're gonna have Williams back. Williams is off his 10-day quarantine. They've still got Paul George, who's the second best Robin in the league, maybe behind Anthony Davis. They can guard anybody. They can outscore anybody. They've got the depth to out depth anybody. They're a ridiculously solid team, top to bottom. They've got all the pieces they need to be a legit contender. All they need is to not fuck up majorly.
Right.
And they've got the pieces to stop Luka. Luka's still 21. We got to remember Luka Doncic is 21 years old.
Yeah.
And quick caveat before I go into this, it's going to sound like I'm not a Luka fan. I had a ridiculous hard-on for Luka since he was like 18 and a draft prospect.
Watch
and I was really begging. I said 18. But I was really begging for the Magic to like throw a bunch of draft picks together, like 7 or 8 or 10 first rounders to trade up 4 spots to get him, and it never happened. Jake wanted him to trade away literally every pick, every other year forever, but that's neither here nor there. Luka Doncic is still 21 years old, and he struggles to shoot the ball efficiently. He doesn't struggle to shoot the ball; he struggles to shoot the ball efficiently, and he struggles to shoot the ball efficiently in crunch time. Now, that's something he's going to grow out of. That's something he's going to learn over the next few years. He's only 21 years old. He's got 20 years more to play in the league, and he's going to learn how to play in the clutch, and he's going to learn how to play an efficient game. But right now, it's the same as with Ja Morant. Ja Morant played a good game, but he played an inefficient game, and it's because they're young. As they grow, they're going to get better. I don't think Doncic is the guy to carry them through the series this season. He's made an amazing leap, and he's an amazing basketball player. And Kristaps has really grown into his role as another amazing Robin. He put up absurd numbers in the bubble, but I don't think Doncic is going to play an efficient enough game to beat two legit two-way superstars in Leonard and George.
And Kristaps is only 25, so it's not like he's much established and a veteran, quote unquote.
Kristaps is 1 week older than me. He's a young man. He's got all kinds of time ahead of him, and he's already shooting the ball lights out, and he's already blocking shots left, right, and center. And he finally fucking figured out how to be 7'3" and grab rebounds like it.
Yeah,
he's got a bright future too, and this team has championships in their future. They just don't have a series win this year.
Huh. Interesting.
That's a hot take, man. I actually think that they have a legitimate shot in round one.
I mean, they have a shot. They'll make it interesting. They'll make it a good series. They're going to make it tough, and none of those games are going to be blowouts. I don't see them. I think I've got LA in 6.
I like that. The next playoff series, to me, I think this one will be the best, most entertaining, I should say. Denver and Utah. They've obviously shown what they can do in the single game. They had that double overtime game just a few days ago, maybe a week ago. Donovan Mitchell, Nikola Jokic, and then on the other hand, they have Bojan Bogdanovic, Mike Conley, who is now gone because him and his family are having a baby. Mount Rudy for Utah. They have Joe Ingles for Utah and Emmanuel Mudiay. They're a really dynamic team. And then Denver is the one that I wanted to talk about with Nikola Jokic. They also have Troy Daniels, Gary Harris, Jeremy Grant. Paul Millsap is their oldest and most established player. They have Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr., there's the one that we will be talking about on our own show, apparently. They're very well-scored teams and very established rosters from top to bottom on both sides of this series. To me, I 100% think this one will go all 7 games, and if it's not 3 overtime games within the 7, I think that'll even be not living up to the hype that I imagine. I don't know about what your guys' thoughts are, but to me, this one will be the best playoff series in the entire bubble or whatever it is that you want to call it. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, these two young rosters are going to go head for head, shot for shot. Bob, thoughts?
I agree with you. I think it's 7 games all day. I don't know if it's going to be the best playoff series, but it's going 7 games all day. That's
Right.
And we lost Robie.
Yeah, he went away. I'll let him come back whenever he does and have his thoughts about it. But moving on to the next one for now. Houston and OKC, the trade rivals that I'm going to call them. Russell Westbrook obviously used to play for the Thunder. Chris Paul obviously used to play for Houston. They now play for each other's teams. Chris Paul has been an absolute legend of a player, but he has been shafted when it comes to winning a ring. He's never done so, and he has been robbed time and time again, including when he was in Houston. If he does not get hurt, I think him and James Harden take Houston to the finals, but lo and behold, the Warriors did that. Him and Steven Adams is a good duo. They also have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is a great young player, in my opinion. He has definitely been a piece to build upon, and he will be a piece to build upon for as long as he's on that roster. They also have Hamidou Diallo, who's no slouch either. He's 22. He's my age. He's 6'5", shooting guard from Kentucky. He is nothing to be left alone, I should say. Like I said, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, great young piece to build upon. Mike Muscala hit a game winner for them this past week. They also have Nerlens Noel, who is a solid defensive big man. On the other hand, Houston Rockets, they have no big man. Their big man is PJ Tucker. I believe he is the tallest person on that roster, is he not? No,
All
Tyson Chandler.
5 shorter than you.
They have Tyson Chandler on that roster. Completely forgot about that.
So did he. Tyson Chandler don't even remember he's on the Rockets, honestly. Like, come on.
I don't know.
You don't travel.
I don't know what this series will do. To me, logically, it'll go 5 games just because Houston is Houston and they shoot lights out regardless of percentage. They have had really high percentage games. They've had really low percentage games. Jeff Green also plays for the Rockets, but even then, that man is 33. So I don't think he's going to be the one to lead that team to victory.
Jeff Green's pretty much their backup center.
Yeah. Robbie, thoughts on Houston OKC?
It's going to be an interesting series. To me, it just feels like 2 teams that don't really deserve the second round.
Okay.
I love OKC and I love what they've done, and I do hope that they win this series, and I hope that they put up a fight in round 2. I really appreciate what they've done as a trade away your studs, still play at a high level, develop your young guys, and just really look better than you should.
Right.
But let's be honest, they should be like a 6 or a 7 seed, and they should be getting bumped in the first round by a top seed. You know, there's teams that the 7 and 8 seeds, the Blazers and the Mavericks, I think, deserve higher seeds and deserve, more. They just didn't play up to it, and the Thunder outkicked their coverage something serious this season.
Yeah.
And, kudos to them for earning this spot that they're in, and kudos to them for what I hope is a series win. And at that point, obviously, I can't say they don't deserve it anymore because at that point they'll have won the series. But
no,
they're not traditionally built like the team that should be winning a series and going on to the second round. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate them, but they are not. They're very non-traditional, and
no, you have to give big congrats to Billy Donovan for being the hell of a coach he has been.
Yeah.
Granted, he hasn't gotten it done yet with either roster of James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant. Didn't get it done, and he obviously lost everyone time by time. And he will be playing his former 6th man of the year and his former starting point guard.
He actually didn't come around till around the time Durant was looking to leave.
Right.
He was still coaching at U of Florida when James Harden got traded.
Right.
Which is the only bad move that Sam Presti ever made.
And then, Data, if you're back, Houston OKC prediction.
I think Houston, even though I'm with Robbie, they're not round 2 deserving either spot. I think Houston without Westbrook is going to struggle. They're going to get through round 1, and that's it.
Okay.
Honestly, the way Houston's built, they're built to defend anybody that doesn't have a dominant center. Now, unfortunately, Steven Adams might end up scoring a career high in points per game for a series. He might end up going 21 points per game, just depending on how committed PJ Tucker is to getting up under his skin. Which, honestly, it's PJ Tucker. He's going to be very committed to doing that. But
and I think you have to look at, James Harden, Westbrook, they both came from OKC. What's the personal animus between the 2 teams? How much is OKC going to be invested in just kicking Harden and Westbrook out of the playoffs? But I think Houston gets through round 1.
OKC is the team with a chip on its shoulder with nothing to lose. I would almost always bet on the team with the chip on its shoulder and nothing to lose. But those are all very valid points. I mean, Houston is the more playoff built team,
right?
But not having a real 5 to soak up minutes is a problem.
Yeah, Tyson Chandler being your number 1-5 is odd.
Do you want to know how many minutes? Tyson Chandler doesn't play. Tyson Chandler is just on the roster. Tyson Chandler is as much a Houston Rock as you are.
Ooh, we're lit.
Yeah. He played 26 games this year. He played 8 minutes per game.
Yeah, 8 minutes per game, 1.3 points a game.
Yeah.
2.5 rebounds a game. Yeah, that's a little bit embarrassing. Okay, well, yeah, they don't have a number 1-5.
No. PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is their starting center. And I've said it in the past, and I'll say it again. Small ball is a great tool. It should not be your game plan.
Right. And then before we move on to the Eastern Conference, since you were gone for this discussion, Robbie, Denver, Utah, that playoff series. I said it would be the most entertaining playoff series in all of the playoffs. 7 games and overtime for at least 3 of them.
It's going to be an entertaining series, and I'm going to be happy to watch. It's really just a battle of titans. It's Gobert versus Jokic. The winner of that battle wins the series. Right. I don't think they're the most exciting. I don't think that's the most exciting series to watch, though.
But it might be the best.
It will. Oh no! In terms of 2 teams going at it and playing the best basketball on both sides of the ball, that'll be the series that basketball fans enjoy.
Yeah.
But in terms of the one that I'm most excited to see, it's top 3, but it's not number 1.
And then moving on to the East now, Robbie, I'll let you headway this one because it is your favorite and hometown team. The Orlando Magic 8 seed will be facing off against Giannis and his Bucks. You can lead the way on this.
4 games, it's a sweep, 15 points per game difference. Giannis is going to play 23 minutes per game and score 31. That's it. Move on. Next series, please. Please, God, please.
I agree with you. 4-0 sweep. I don't know if I'll call a 15-point differential every game. I think there will be one
15-point differential.
Oh, gotcha.
That means it's going to be by 20 3 times, and then the last time it'll be by 1.
There we go. That's what I was thinking. There's going to be at least one game that Orlando's going to be sneaky and say, "Hey, we're still here."
Giannis will get sloppy and headbutt somebody and foul out and get ejected, and they'll win by 1. And then the other 3 games is going to be 20-point bludgeonings.
Oh man!
I've done a lot of bitching about the Magic over the years. I've done a lot of watching and a lot of hoping and a lot of praying, and everything that they've needed to do,
they don't, or do the opposite.
With the exception of drafting and trying to use a guy like Jonathan Isaac, who really should be something special if he could ever get both of his legs under him. With the exception of that one pick, which I'm a homer for liking anyway, they've not done anything. Okay, the Fultz trade was a good one. Other than those 2 things, they've done nothing right in 8 years and somehow fell ass backwards into the playoffs twice.
Agreed.
They need to tear it down again, get rid of all their money again, get rid of Vucevic somehow. I love the guy. He's a great leader and a good ball player, but he should not be making $25 million a year and anchoring your offense.
Terrence Ross, because I have nothing to add to that statement, so we can just move on.
I saw you put up a 5-finger series, so I'm just going to let that be there.
You know why it's going to be 5 games? You know why it's going to be 5 games? It's because it's the NBA. It's going to be 5 games.
The only possible way I see it going 5 games is if Milwaukee plays their bottom 5 of their roster the entire 48 minutes.
And even so, Dante DiVincenzo will score 32 points per game.
Well, he's been their starter recently.
Yeah, but listen, he's not one of their 5 best players.
No, he's not. He's not.
He's an awesome basketball player, and he would be the Magic's leading scorer.
Yeah.
So next series we go Toronto, the reigning champs, without Kawhi, against Brooklyn, who is missing their best players in KD and 100% healthy Kyrie. Sorry. If KD,
I got Toronto here.
If KD were here and fully healthy, and Kyrie was fully healthy, I could see it being a very entertaining series, but neither of those 2 players are here and fully healthy. So I see Toronto taking 5 games easily.
Karis LeVert will win a game, but other than that,
that's the thought I'm having. Karis LeVert and Joe Harris will be the sole reason they win at least 1 game.
Actually, I think Brooklyn is better with Kyrie hurt. It'd be a hell of a lot better if KD was there. I think Kyrie's a cancer for any team. I think you see that in the Boston Celtics this year versus when he was there. But Toronto, even without Kawhi, is pretty damn good. I mean,
Oh yeah,
It's
that
because they're
team,
well coached and well developed.
yes, exactly.
yeah. No,
That's the organizational model that every team should be trying to follow. You know, if you can't do
100%.
if you can't do the Warriors playing 2K with all the sliders set to player benefit model where you get to, change all your players to superstars in the editing screen. This is how you do it. You build through the draft, you build through the G League, you build with your coaches, and then you go and get the one piece you need to push your team over the top and build something sustainable for once he leaves.
Yep.
Kudos to Toronto.
Well,
Yeah.
100%. Because
Yeah.
even without Kawhi, Nick Nurse and this roster have been playing like they are wanting to repeat, and
They have
there's
one of the two
no
best
second
coaches
thought
and one
about
of the
that.
two best execs in the NBA, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I could agree.
What do we got?
Speaking of Kyrie's old team, the Boston Celtics and their young core will be facing off Philadelphia 76ers. 76ers are missing Ben Simmons for the rest of the playoffs if they advance out of this first round. And I don't know if Joel Embiid will be back for this first series or at least miss a few games. Ben Simmons had a knee surgery to remove whatever the heck happened to him, and Embiid went down with an ankle injury. I don't know if they are expecting his return, but even if he does return, he will not be fully healthy. And with them missing Ben Simmons, it really hurts because Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Carson Edwards, Javonte Green, Gordon Hayward, UCF grown Taco Fall, even though he won't play more than the time limit that Zion Williamson played for his respective team. Kemba Walker at point guard, and I see the Celtics putting an absolute beatdown on the 76ers. I could see the 76ers pulling one game if Embiid is back and fully healthy, just because he is a takeover big man.
Embiid is the only hope they have to be any
Yeah.
sort of relevant in this series because the Celtics don't have anybody that can defend him.
Right.
But even so, he's a big man in a league full of shooters, and the Celtics have shooters out the ass.
Oh yeah, they have shooters out the ass, but I mean, Embiid is no absolute slouch as a shooter, but he's not like the most reliable big man shooter.
He's a confident shooter, and he's great at the line, and he'll get to the line. This is what we were talking about earlier with Ayton. Embiid will get hacked and make 80% of his free throws. He's an awesome shooter at the line. He's got all kinds of moves in the post, but ultimately he's one guy, and the rest of that team isn't built to beat the Celtics.
No, not at all. I personally, I could see the Celtics making it. I would not be shocked at all if the Celtics made it all the way. Not going to say they win it all, but I would not be shocked if they make the finals.
It depends on how much magic they've got in Daniel Tice.
Fair.
As a defensive five. Because he holds up, he holds his own, and he does a good job, but he's 6'8" and 220 pounds. He's not a five. He would be the biggest man on the Rockets, but he's not a real NBA center. And if he goes up against guys like Joel Embiid for 30 minutes a night, for five, 6, 7 games, he's going to get beat down.
Yeah. And it's going to be relying on the young shooters and scorers of.
And you can't play Enes Kanter in those games. Enes Kanter should not see a minute in these games unless the Celtics are up 20.
Right.
He is a miserable defender. And this is him improving this year on defense, if you can call it that. He's a miserable defender.
Then we move on to the final, and definitely a more exciting playoff series to me. Looking at the teams is Indiana Pacers and Miami Heat. Both of these rosters are very, very benefited. They don't really lack at any specific position that I could point out and say you're an absolute liability to this team. Jimmy Butler. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is very, very confident. They've got Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Jay Crowder, Goran Dragic, Udonis Haslem, Andre Iguodala, like we were saying earlier, that veteran established player that can be the anchor to make sure everybody's still in check. They've got Derrick Jones Jr., who is an absolute athletic freak.
Derrick Jones Jr. he got brought out on a stretcher the other night. So
yeah, I know.
we
I saw
gotta
that.
see if he's going to
but
be able to come back. But he's not even remotely the biggest piece on this team. He's just
no, he's not. He's just an athletic freak.
He's a really good defender too. He's a borderline shutdown combo forward.
They've also got Duncan
But he's
Robinson,
almost
who is not to be slept on, and they
Mhm.
have Myers Leonard at center as well. And then also Rookie of the Year candidate, I believe, in Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, he was a finalist.
Yeah. So top to bottom, naming out all those players, Miami is very, very gracious for their players. But also on the other hand, the Indiana Pacers, obviously they've got Oladipo. I couldn't think of his first name for a second. Victor. They've got Malcolm Brogdon, who came off the Milwaukee Bucks. They've got Aaron and Justin Holiday. They've got Jeremy Lamb, TJ Leaf, TJ McConnell, old boy Doug McDermott. He's not the player he was in college.
They got 3 TJs on their roster.
TJ Leaf, TJ McConnell, and TJ Warren. How could I forget?
How could you?
They've also got Demonis Sabonis, Miles Turner. Obviously, we saw how the Jimmy Butler, TJ Warren matchup lined up in the one game in the bubble restart. But the playoffs is a different animal. I understand that they're going to be playing in relatively the same building. I don't know if they have multiple buildings in this bubble. I wasn't able to illegally sneak in.
I know you tried.
But it is the playoffs, so everything could change. And I mean everything could change. TJ Warren could go for 12 points a game and be absolute letdown in comparison. But he could also continue his tear that he had before that Miami matchup and go for 40 points a game. Victor Oladipo, he's obviously been making strides in his comeback to health. I don't necessarily know if he's 100% healthy, and I cannot say for him that he is 100% healthy. That is his choice and his reason to show.
He's back and ready to play, but that's
I could also see this series going 7 games.
It should.
I also see this one being one of the more entertaining basketball series as a basketball fan, not just point. I could see it like legitimately being true basketball fun. I say 7 games, 2 overtime games.
These 2 teams is they are 2 teams full of shooters, and they are 2 teams full of guys who are scrappy and hungry.
Oh,
These are 2 teams that want it, and these are 2 teams that are going to go out and take what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the Pacers are dealing with a couple of large injuries. Jeremy Lamb, who you mentioned earlier, he's out. He's had a torn ACL. He's not playing anymore.
Yeah.
And Sabonis is not close to returning, but Miles Turner's a really good 5. He's not gonna have an answer for Bam, but he is gonna keep Bam from doing his thing under the hoop.
Right. So Miles Turner's a damn good defender.
Yeah, you're gonna take away Bam's ability to score 16, 18 points in a game, and you're gonna deter Jimmy Butler from driving because Miles Turner does a really good job of defending the rim without giving up fouls, and Jimmy Butler's entire game is predicated on getting fouled.
On the other hand of that, Miles Turner on offense to benefit Indiana, he is another one of those confident big men from behind the line. He's never been scared to shoot. He can be very effective at times. Obviously, he's a big man, so he can't 100% say, oh, yeah, he's going shooting 55% from 3. But he can put up his numbers when he has to. I've seen it personally. Like I said, 7 games. I could see there being 2 or 3 overtime games. It'll be a doozy for sure. You said you would like this to be the most entertaining series, or you think it's going to be the most entertaining series?
This is the series that I'm most excited for as a basketball fan and as somebody who likes watching bad blood happen. TJ Warren versus Jimmy Butler is going to be a really cool storyline. I know TJ Warren he's still got a very recent shine on him. It's not like he's got some long track record of elite performance. He's always been good. He's never been great. Now he's looking pretty damn great, but Butler shut him down. I'm interested to see if Butler versus Warren ends up being the story of this series. Because Turner and Adebayo are both excellent players, but Adebayo is maybe the best overall player in this entire series.
Yeah.
But he's losing one big weapon, and that's his post scoring up against Miles Turner. The Holiday boys are they're going to do their thing, just pestering the perimeter and shooting shooting the lights out from three. The Pacers have shooters, and the Heat have. These are two of the best shooting teams in the NBA in terms of volume and in terms of efficiency. So it's really going to be. It's going to come down to late games. It's going to come down to who can execute when the game is on the line.
Every game will get to the wire.
Yeah, nobody's getting blown out. Exactly. Every game is coming down to the wire.
Yeah. Well, that is all the playoff predictions for the first round. There's nothing more to talk about. We don't have any other comments outside of Courtney being an absolute great leader. So what I do want to say before I start the sign off is go check out our shirts, Loudmouth Sports Talk. Bombshell Bowling has been our great apparel maker, and obviously you see this beautiful shirt. They're $20. You can get them. They'll be shipped to you, free shipping. So yeah, check out Bombshell Bowling / Loudmouth Sports Talk and get our shirts. Thank you, Robie. Yes, you are the sadness of the Magic because they are tragic. But no, thank you. Check out your show. I would like you to shout out your own show. So here you go.
Thursday nights, if you're a baseball fan, which means you really hate yourself, come watch my show on Thursday nights. Talk about baseball with random folks every week. Sometimes they're cool. Usually they're not. Always with me. So we got a great show lined up for Thursday. I don't know who's going to be on it, and I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Baseball.
We'll find out.
Big sticks swinging and little spheres.
Big sticks ahead of the curve. Thursday night, 8:30.
So this has been Dame Calls Game. Like I said, check out our shirts, please and thank you. Which way is it? No, it's this way. No, this is Dame Calls Game. Me, Damien. That Robbie. He is also our show man for Ahead of the Curve, like he said.
I'm the greatest showman.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Courtney found that's pretty funny, I guess. Yeah. No, my show is normally on Mondays. Tonight, like I said, is a Sunday night because personal reasons. But, however, next Monday, 8:30, we do have a very special guest that I will not reveal who, but I will say, if you would like to find out, please freaking tune in next Monday at 8:30. I would love to see you. I would love to have as many comments as possible and as many questions to answer. Thank you very much. This has been Dame Calls Game. Talk to you next week.